Well, hey, mamas. Hello, hello. We are here for tip number 2, all about helping your teen with those study sessions. We're focusing today on studying via learning style. So I'd love to know, has your teen ever taken a learning style assessment? Does your teen know? Do you know? Is your teen visual, auditory, or kinesthetic? Now, a lot of those tests out there can break it down even further into the type of visual learner. And then there's even sometimes different types of learning styles, but those are the 3 that I focus on, that I teach as a study skills tutor. So if you know, that's great. If you don't, it's not at all a surprise. It's not something that a lot of parents, a lot of teens are aware of. I do want you to know, though, I would love to talk about this with you and your teen one-on-one through a free consultation. There's a link for you to schedule one in the description. But I encourage you to stick with us as we talk about using learning styles during study sessions. So the very first thing I like to make sure is super, super clear whenever I'm talking about studying and learning is how they're connected. Okay, they are connected, they're very similar, but they're not the same thing. Studying is the process of learning. So that means for your teen to actually be able to learn, or for anybody out there, no matter the age, in order to know how to learn, we have to know how to study. So there's 12 study skills that I teach, and all together, those kind of get used for studying. But when we're talking about sitting down to actually study, we're going to talk about those specific activities today that are related to learning style and, some of those other study skills as well, because we don't have notes. We don't have anything to study, which is why I teach note-taking, for example. Okay? So studying is the process of learning. That's the most important thing I can tell you today. The second thing to tell you is that there are hundreds and hundreds of activities that all qualify as studying. Okay, I can list them and list them and list them, and there'd probably still be more that you, your teen do, or maybe you want your teen to do that would qualify as studying. Okay, but before we talk about what those specific activities are, the connection I want to make here with learning style is the fact that how you want your teen to study, maybe his notes, maybe that textbook, maybe that old homework, maybe even the study guide, is possibly very different than what's actually going to work for your son or your daughter. So that's something I want you to understand, mamas, is the way you learn is unique. The way that your child learns is unique. And when we talk about activities and studying, each activity can be done multiple different ways. So it's technically the same activity, same different way, or same way of studying, but done differently to match your teen's learning style. So stick with me. Let's talk about how to do that and how that even works. Before I do, I want to say hey to everybody. All my mamas are watching here on Facebook and on YouTube. Thanks so much for supporting me, Jessyka Coulter, and my business, Ace Cookie Tutoring. I hope you subscribe. I hope you follow, because this is just tip number 2. And I do have one more I want to share with you when it comes to supporting your teens' study sessions. All right. So activities. As I share some of these and talk about how we can make them visual, auditory, kinesthetic, would love to know, are these things that you're already doing with your children? Are these things that your teen maybe could modify and change based on his learning style? So the simplest way to study, like one I think we're all familiar with, no matter if I'm talking to mamas that studied, graduated high school 20, 30 years ago, or if we're talking someone like me who is in the double digits but hasn't been 20 years. Okay. So reading. Reading is a simple way to study. But we can read to ourselves, silently. That would be the visual way to do it. The auditory way would be to read it out loud, to listen to an audio tape, or to have someone read to that child. And then the third way, the kinesthetic way of reading, can be something as simple as standing while reading or walking in place, or even, sitting down to read and every page standing up and then flipping the page and sitting back down. Okay, those kind of physical activities tied into reading makes it kinesthetic. Okay. Another important part of studying is to actually quiz yourself. Okay. So mamas, you might want to quiz your teen, right? Verbally. Ask your teen questions. Maybe have the study guide and read off the questions and have your teen explain. That's very auditory. That is not going to work well for our visual learners. Okay. So quiz themselves, a better option for a visual learner is on the study guide, we got the question, and then the answer is down below. Well, have your teen just cover up the answer. Have your teen, get to read the question and maybe even write down the answer, or pick and choose from multiple choice, okay, or do like a fill in the blank. So different ways to read, to see, that's going to make a difference for quizzing with our visual learners. Our kinesthetic learners, we got to make it active somehow. Okay, something I love to point out when I'm teaching study skills and I'm teaching kind of how to retain information, how to have study sessions, because kinesthetic learners do really well with Kahoots. Okay, if you're at all familiar with it, one of my favorite things to do is like in a room, there's 4 walls, make those 4 walls a color. It could be like literally putting a piece of construction paper up, or even just, a sticky note with the words. And your teen, when he's answering this question, he reads the question or has it read out loud. Either way should work, depending on if your teen's more visual or auditory, right, to go with the kinesthetic. But then have your teen physically go to that wall, the blue wall, the orange wall, the red wall, the yellow wall. I think those are the 4 colors. Maybe there's green. I can't remember. But that's another thing, if I wrote it out, I see it, I remember it better. But that's a way to make quizzing, like reviewing, much easier, much more kinesthetic. Okay. So those are just 2 different study activities. Like I said, we could talk about a lot more. So if there's something that your teen enjoys, but you're wondering, is this, the right thing for my teen based on his learning style, or how can we make it more visual, auditory, kinesthetic? That's something I'd love to talk with you about. We can definitely, answer questions here in the comments if you want to answer, drop anything. But I'm also happy for us to talk about that through a free consultation. So if you'd love to learn more about study skills, you want your teen to love to learn by knowing how to learn and actually have effective study sessions because he's using the right techniques, right strategies, then be sure to schedule a free consultation at the link in the description. So thanks so much, mamas. See you soon. Have an awesome day and hope you'll come back for the next video. Bye, mamas.